What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we have a video going over being able to see through fake people. I have this little bit of this interview with Robert Greene, and I'm going to play this clip where he's discussing how to see through fake people.
Stop paying attention to people's charm, their presence, their facade, to how excited they are when you first meet them, to their resume, to the fact that they went to Harvard or Yale, etc., and look at their character, what lies underneath. So if you looked at Howard Hughes's character, you would have seen someone deeply insecure and deeply controlling to the point where he could never finish anything. And if you saw that, you would have never signed on to one of his projects and lost millions of dollars, right? So people give signs of this. They give signs of their behavior. They give signs of the fact that they're not a team player. Character, I like to decide to judge, is either strong or weak. You want a strong character for a partner in an intimate relationship, for a business partner, for a colleague at work. A strong character can take criticism. That's the number one thing. A person who is strong inside can take criticism and can use it constructively. They don't become defensive. A strong person, when they're stressed, they don't crumble. They don't suddenly become this whiny little baby. They can handle it. They have presence of mind. A strong person can work with other people. They're not dominated by their ego. They don't have to have everything on their own terms. A weak character is all the opposite of those traits. So you hire somebody based on their charm, and then you discover when they're stressed that they crumble into pieces, right? You discover that when you criticize them, they get all whiny and defensive and they can't learn. You discover that they can't work together as a team. They only want to advance their own agenda. You learn that too late because they're already working for you. So judge them before you get involved with people. And I should talk in my books about how there are always signs what the underlying character is.
Mm-hmm.
If you like that clip and you want to see
terms, a weak character is all the opposite of those traits. A person can work with other people.
I just wanted to rewind
They're not dominated by their ego. They don't have to have everything on their...
All right. A couple points I want to add in there. They're not dominated by their ego. They're also not dominated by their emotions. Again, that goes back to, can you receive criticism? And here's a distinction that I need to make very clear right now. There is a way to give somebody constructive criticism, or a way to say, hey, look, have you thought about doing it like this? Like, have you considered this? You know, sometimes when you do this doesn't really end up working out that well. Or sometimes when you interact with me like this, it really doesn't feel that good, right? These are ways where you are criticizing in a calm manner because you have a solution-oriented approach. You are looking to find common ground with the person, right? You can tell very easily by the emotional state somebody is in whether they are looking to find a resolution with something or they're purely looking to attack. And the distinction that I want to make here is that people have this term now, getting defensive, don't get defensive. Well, when you go on a vicious attack against somebody, that's going to make anybody defensive. Anybody's going to have their walls, like put their defenses up because they're under attack. Nobody, if you come and viciously attack somebody, it's going to take an extreme, like, it's very rare for somebody to not be, it just doesn't really happen. If you viciously attack somebody, they're going to feel the need to defend themselves, right? But there's a difference between that and telling somebody, hey, look, like I said before, coming at it in a calm manner. And when you're doing that and you tell somebody in a calm manner that they made a mistake, you tell them that they should try to do things differently next time, that their approach didn't work, and they react with hostility and anger, that is a huge sign that they have an extremely weak character. They can't even handle any sort of criticism at all, right? And generally speaking, and that's why I go back to, are they dictated by their emotions? Because the same type of people with weak character are the types of people when certain things isn't going their way or a certain thing isn't going perfectly, they emotionally fly off the handle and chaos ensues, drama ensues. And when you are dealing with people like this, again, that is weak character. People with strong character are able to handle situations that are not ideal. They're able to move with grace through those situations. Yeah, they might be perturbed. Yeah, they might be anxious. They might be tense. There might be some tension that happens. In certain situations, of course, there's going to be tensions. Not, you're not going to be able to completely just handle it with this amazing ease in every situation. But as long as they're not emotionally flying off the handle, like I said, going and enacting like vitriolic behavior where they are becoming malicious, where they are becoming they're blaming, they're shifting blame, they're assigning blame, they are pointing the finger, they are coming on the attack, they are yelling at people, raising their voice, becoming violent, aggressive, this type of thing, right? You get what I'm saying? Then that is weak character. That is a reactive person. And if they want to go around throwing the emotions around and doing this emotional tantrum, and they want to point the blame at other people so that they might think that they're appearing strong, but really that looks weak. That is weak to me. Nobody, if they're coming around and pointing the finger and blaming everybody for all this stuff, that is weakness masquerading as strength. I mean, straight up. There's no other way about it. Somebody that is calm, somebody that has a decision is going to say, hey, look, we're going to be doing it like this from now on. They're going to handle shit in a calm, confident manner that somebody that deserves to be in a position of authority would handle it. You're not going to have a boss or somebody that's in a position of authority come in and throw a tantrum and tell me that is not a person with strong character. Let's just be honest. Let's be real with ourselves. So, this little excerpt, this interview, can be very helpful for us to determine whether somebody has strong or weak character. And now I'm going to read this comment because this is also very revealing and something that I've noticed in my life. This trait of gossiping, talking about people behind their back, that is an instant red flag. If you are around somebody that really enjoys putting other people down, really enjoys talking about people that aren't in the room, and you can tell that they're getting fuel from this. It is really an enjoyable, almost like they're getting this supply out of this. That is a massive red flag that this person has a weak character, because it shows that they need to in order for them to feel okay about themselves, they have to put other people down. That's bullying, that is narcissism, that is dysfunction in a person's personality. It's toxicity. So it's like, this comment says, the one thing all my toxic friends shared when I first knew them was no matter how fun, how warm, how charismatic and friendly they were, that they would find it very easy to bitch about other people very early on. And the bitchiness was a sort of way to create fake intimacy and a bond, like, I like you because you're not like that. And that is so spot on. I mean, we got other people in the comments saying, yes, thank you for sharing. That's spot on. I've known people like that. Then they turned around and started talking about me to other people. And that is the experience that you will find as you go throughout life and you run into people like this. Be very wary of these people. It's tough sometimes because this type of thing can appear innocuous at first. You might not run into somebody that is just blatantly gossiping about people behind their backs, although I've run into plenty of those as well. But you may find some people that just tend to see the negative in people. You might even be out in public with these people, and they tend to just point out, oh, look at them, look at that. And I've noticed that a lot of the time, people will do it of members of the same sex that they are. So women will point out every flaw in another woman that she sees, and that's a sign of a very insecure person, somebody with very weak character. And men can do this as well, right? You'll be around and be like, oh yeah, that guy, he's just such a loser, such a dork. people are very quick to find flaws with other people, that are very quick to point out how these people aren't measuring up in comparison to them, of course. These people, and it may be, you want to take it maybe with a little bit of a grain of salt, because if somebody is noticing somebody and somebody genuinely takes issue with somebody, you don't want to write them off. But you want to notice it's all about the patterns, right? And that's what Robert Greene is sharing with us, is that it is the pattern. If people are constantly reverting to this as a baseline behavior, a baseline way of seeing the world, their worldview is such that they have to find fault and flaw with every single person that they come into contact with, especially when they're trying to make themselves appear better than these people in your eyes, right? Then it is a huge indication that they have a weak character. And again, that they will eventually reverse Uno that card onto you, and they will do that exact same behavior against you with some sort of future friendship or relationship that they have. So then we have another comment in this video that says, researchers say the best way to gauge someone's character is by simply listening to them. People talk. If a person only talks about themselves, for instance, and they badmouth others, that says a lot about who they are, self-centered and careless of others. If they ask you questions and speak positively about others, they're genuinely nice and care about others. So if you want to get to know someone without wasting time, just let them talk. Wow, that is pretty spot on. But let's see, somebody has a comment here with a caveat. It says, I actually disagree. There are closet narcs, that would be like covert narcissists, who ask questions just to test and gaze you. They are analyzing how best to manipulate you. First-hand experience. He actually told me he asked my father questions to test him. This guy was a doctor. Biggest case of being smart in school doesn't mean you are actually smart. And then somebody else responds, then there's this friend who apparently talks positively about you and just very subtly slides in a comment. She's a good mother, but very overprotective. She doesn't let her kid go to eat, whatever. She's a good wife. I don't know why people say she's unfaithful. They're only friends. She's a hard worker. I don't believe she stole something from her other job. There you go. Again, that's why these things are patterns. Deep intuition and that quiet knowing, when you study people's patterns and you're watching them. Words with actions that never align with one another show true intention and deception. That's another massive red flag. When somebody's words don't match up with their actions, and they might promise you things, they might promise you this, and again, it becomes a pattern, right? Because the first time, the second time even, you're like, okay, well, they might be trying, right? They might be trying to adjust the behavior, and so you want to give them benefit of the doubt. But when it happens again and again and again, usually, I think three times is pretty fair to say, look, this is a pattern, right? Yes, a strong person can take criticism without lashing out or becoming petty or defensive. They take it on the chin, so to speak, so don't take it personally. They handle disappointment in a mature manner. Somebody else says, I feel energy from people and it's best to listen to my own intuition. But very simple recognition is doubt. If you love someone and you are keeping doubts about this person, it's a warning. Why do you have doubt? Because your body and brain is giving you a warning. If someone is pure about love for you, intentions, etc., you have no doubts. You feel it and know it, no doubts. Very interesting point. Again, there's that book, The Body Keeps Score. And so if you are realizing that you are having certain doubts about somebody, you're there's this unsure feeling that you have deep down, even though everything on the surface looks fine, but there's that doubt there. Again, I don't think this is a hard and fast rule, but it is very important to listen to your intuition on these things. And that comes through a calm state of mind again, right? It's not by engaging that emotional thinking, because getting reactive in a situation clouds the ability to see things as they are. Somebody said this is powerful and probably the most important point I've read in the thread. I have the same response. It was a very long journey in listening to trust those internal messages. We so often try to make excuses for those because we are conditioned to question ourselves and place authority outside ourselves. This is exactly how people are fooled. Always trust your instincts Remember how to listen and hear them. It's rarely ever incorrect. Somebody said, yes, look within the soul. Actions, eyes, words, they speak, body language. The flesh is deceiving, but the soul never lies. Somebody said, we need time with a person to get to know their character. We need strong people in this world. Depends on who is criticizing you are. Doesn't make sense. Somebody said, after a while, you can pick up on people's true nature. It takes trial and error. You almost have to meet a lot of different people and interact with them. The last person I met showed me exactly who he was on the first date, but I allowed his charm to make me pretend like I didn't see what I saw. And he would continually show me glimpses of who he was until after 4 months, I could not keep pretending. I blocked him on all avenues before it could get really serious, thank God. So I believe Mr. Green when he said basically not to become intoxicated by people's presentation, their charm, charisma, looks, achievements, etc. Dig for the raw materials that make up all that's tucked away beneath the surface. Then you'll know what you're about to sign yourself up for. Somebody says, what you do is who you are. Also listen to people. They will tell you who they are, but actions are a dead giveaway. Pay attention and trust your intuition. You can get a good judgment of someone's character off of a good conversation. Getting someone to tell stories about their life instead of generic Q&As can give you a better picture of how that person responds in situations. People lost the art of asking questions. If people will tell on themselves if you know the right questions to ask more than what's your favorite color. Good listening skills, observation of body language, and strong intuition can help filter out even more. These are skills that become more refined the more you interact with people. And there's some people responding to that. Somebody's asking, what type of questions do you like to ask? Well, so one point that I want to make here too is that, again, going off with the way that people talk about other people, right? If they're constantly painting themselves in a positive light, but everybody else, again, this comes down to a pattern thing, right? It's possible for somebody to have a boss that mistreats them, right? It's possible for somebody to have an ex that was abusive, or for somebody to have gotten out of a toxic relationship, right? These things are all valid in certain conversations. You don't want to jump to conclusions, right? But when this becomes a pattern, when every single job that this person has had, you're realizing that their boss is mistreating them, and they have a crazy boss. Now they're in a new job and their boss is crazy again, and everybody at their workplace is terrible, and then you ask them about their past relationships, and all of their exes were terrible people, right? Again, there's a pattern forming, right? This person can do no wrong. I can do no wrong. It's always everybody else's fault. The blame always gets put on everyone else's fault. Well, sooner or later, when that person is moving on to the next person that they want to deal with, now you're going to be in the same boat as all those other people. It's going to be all your fault. Doesn't matter how well you treated this person. Doesn't matter how good of a friend you were. It doesn't matter how much of your best positive intentions you put into the relationship, how much effort, how much energy you expended, how much time and energy and good-hearted intentions you put toward this person. If they are this type of person with weak character, they're going to throw you under the bus at a moment's notice because they have shifted in alignment. They have shifted their loyalty to somebody else now. So those patterns, when somebody comes from job to job to job, or relationship to relationship to relationship, or everybody in their family, they don't have a good relationship with anybody in their family, unfortunately, though, no matter how much you want to sympathize with this person or how much you want to be understanding, be compassionate, and try to help them, they're not, if they're not able to take responsibility, if they're not able to take a look at themselves in any of these situations, let's say that you're talking about the family members and you're saying, well, is there any way that you think that you could, improve your relationship with this family member? And then they flip out on you again, coming back to that emotional response, that flying off the handle type stuff. They can't take criticism, right? All these things kind of go hand in hand to show you and tip you off that this person has weak character. And there's really not much difference between having weak character and being really just spiritually bankrupt and morally bankrupt, like we talked about in the previous video. Because essentially what happens when you're so weak in character is you are so led by your emotions. You are so led by seeking external validation from people around you. You are so led by your ego that you will throw all your morals, all your values, all your loyalty, all your principles down the toilet just so that you can feel validated in a certain situation, so that you can feel your ego. And again, this comes back to, okay, you're working at your job and your boss, your manager is talking trash about their significant other, and now they're egging you on, and now you start talking trash about your significant other. Things might not be absolutely perfect in your relationship, but on all accounts, you could be in a perfectly healthy relationship, in a perfectly normal, healthy relationship. And now you are by gossiping about your partner to this other person, you are destroying the sanctity of that union that you have with your partner. You are just devaluing that relationship completely by doing that, by engaging in that type of behavior. And now you are on the path of destruction. You're going to destroy your relationship because it just takes one little conversation, push it more over the edge, and it's a slippery slope. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you've broken up with your partner. You might get a divorce. Like we watched in that previous video, the social contagion thing is real, and weak people are more affected by this than a strong-willed person. And so that person is going to be affected more by peer pressure. They're going to be affected more by other people's opinions. They're going to be affected more by just the dynamics, social interactions around them. And if these people are telling you, hey, engaging in this behavior is okay. Hey, talking trash about your partner is okay. Hey, actually, you should talk trash about your partner. You deserve better. You deserve this and that and the other. And we're going to promise you this and that. Now you're bought in to what this entire workplace has convinced you of, or it could be anything. It could be these new friends of yours. You could be, they could be convincing you to go and to go steal, to go rob the convenience store with them, to go, it really doesn't matter. But when you have a weak character, you're going to just all of a sudden give in to all these things. And that's a slippery slope. You could really be doing things that that doesn't end. It doesn't end well when you start going down this type of path. I've mentioned before in other videos, I've had friends of mine that started going down these destructive paths, and at a certain point or later, I realized the direction that they were heading in. I realized that they had weak character. I realized that they were fools, so to speak, that their lack of wisdom was an embodiment of the foolish decisions that they were making. And two of these friends that I had back in the day are now dead. They're not alive anymore. Actually, they're hopefully YouTube doesn't flag that, but they're not with us anymore. And these types of things, that's generally things will end up, you'll either end up in a situation like that, you'll end up alone, addicted to substances, generally speaking, life does not treat you well when you go down this path, when you have a weak character, when you're easily convinced and you essentially are listening to that devil on your shoulder. If you want to look at it from a spiritual perspective, you're a drifter throughout life. You drift. You allow people to get into your ear. You may have certain voices in your head, certain people that you've met that have tried to guide you along the better path, but you haven't listened to them because you're a fool, you're foolish, and you think you don't need to listen to advice from anyone, right? And so all these things are weak character. You can't take criticism. You don't have the ability to take criticism. You don't have the ability to self-reflect, to improve yourself. You don't have the desire to, maybe, either. So all of these things are very indicative that this is the type of character of the person that you're dealing with. We're going to read a couple more comments here before I wrap it up. One has to give the prospective partner in business or love the opportunity to harm you or disappoint. That's the cost of success. She or he must determine the integrity and diligence of the other through opportunity of failure. That's very, very, very true. You will not know if your partner is productive, destructive, accountable, and resilient without being given the opportunity to fail on you. Once the prospective partner is faced with the circumstances, she or he will constructively resolve it, or ghost, or gaslight. It is at this juncture that your own mind has the empirical evidence, and the intuitive mind needs to consider his or her options to continue forward or concede that this person is not a productive partner. Wow. How spot on this is. And essentially, that is so imperative. People need to be left to their own devices. There's no way that you can babysit somebody constantly 24/7. And it's not your responsibility to fix these people either. And so when you leave this person to their devices, they've made you these promises, they've told you that they were going to do this, they were going to do that, and they not only did they not do that, maybe they've ghosted or even gaslit you. Well, now you know without a shadow of a doubt the type of weak, pathetic person that you are truly dealing with. So I'm going to read these last few comments. A strong person is good, noble, and impressive. He must require strength because otherwise he will never attain power. Power to him who power exerts. I agree completely. Strong people are inherently good. And again, you could liken strong character to that of having good character. You could liken weak character of that of having bad character, zero integrity, right? You can pretty much equivocate the two. So you've highlighted a couple failures. Howard Hughes died a multi-billionaire. He helped establish and developed early onset of the film industry, aviation, real estate. Okay, this person is for some reason having contention with the interpretation of Howard Hughes' success, which is kind of really beyond, not really irrelevant here. So I have no idea who people really are until how I see them respond to stress and pressure. I've grown to admire people I previously had nothing but disdain for by how they've handled themselves in a sticky situation. The one thing I'll never understand is people who are unpleasant when everything is going well for them. Yeah, me neither, honestly. These people that like to blame, they like to complain. A lot of these people have bratty attitudes. It's funny because I was talking to my designer the other day and we're talking about, these vacation rentals, right? And sometimes, like, some of the nicer that the vacation rental is, that, in this business as a property owner, sometimes the nicer that the rental that it is, in the nicer areas, let's say you have one in Scottsdale and it's like really, really upscale and high end, it's almost more of a headache because you're dealing with people that are so affluent, so entitled, so bratty, that they're never happy. They're never happy with anything. And that goes for a lot of people in life, people that are just, they're never happy. They'll never be satisfied with anything. No matter what situation they're in, they're always going to look for the glass half empty. They're always going to see what they're lacking instead of what they have. And again, that's another sign of just a weak character, because if you're looking at life like that, you're constantly you're emitting that energy, and you're in a state of reaction all the time because you're always thinking you don't have enough. You're always searching. You're always in a scarcity mindset. And it's really baffling too how a lot of the times these people have more material wealth or more things than many other people, and they're stuck in this mindset that is just, I wouldn't want to be there. I never would want to be there in that mindset at all. How can you tell everything's going well for them? Anyways, yeah, somebody again is like questioning. So as humans, we will always miss the red flags or ignore them. We need to fail with people to learn. Sometimes many failures are needed to construct our inner selves and build our true strength. Later on, it will be a matter of choice what pains to absorb and whom to let go. Somebody says, I feel their energy, observe behavior patterns, and I trust my intuition. I'm a human lie detector. Somebody else says, me too, I'm never wrong. Somebody else says, just live in LA. It's second nature for me. Yeah, it's so funny. 4 years in LA now, this is true. They're everywhere. It's obvious. Big personalities fold like a book. Fake is contagious. Many people are nice, nasty, and force smiles because they want to appear one way. We're all trained to some degree how to behave in society. Most people are pretty superficial themselves. They don't want to look for character. They instead get beguiled by charisma. Look at how many people believe John Wayne was a great guy until they found what was beneath his house. For me, I just want to know my colleagues from their facade. I don't want to go after work parties and to other non-work related activities. I'm on the autistic spectrum, and in social situations, I can get overstimulated and act aloof. Then the gossip starts to happen. Also, I only take criticism from people I respect. I always seek guidance from people I think are best at what they do. I try to trust as few people as possible. I'm not in management yet, but I know if I were, I'd only promote from within my company rather than hire strangers to do jobs with more possibilities. This is how you prevent employees from being complacent. I've only worked for one company that worked like this, and it's one of the most successful grocery stores in the USA. Somebody said you can also pay attention to how much they care about animals. Yeah, and that perfectionism thing is also, we all maybe have a bit of perfectionism. I do too, but if you never finish anything, that's also a sign of weak character, because the reasoning behind that is that the reason we don't finish things is because we're afraid of the judgment of others. And if we put so much of the judgment of others as if we make that so important rather than us giving our gifts to the world, giving of ourselves freely, then clearly we are in a place where our character is so weak that we can't stand that notion of rejection. So we don't put those things out into the world. We don't finish things out of fear of rejection. So it does take time to know a person, but sometimes a strong intuitive sense cuts the getting to know them time in half. You can get a sense of how people are upon meeting them if you listen to that voice and gut feeling. You can also get a lot out of the way they interact with their family members, the relationships that they have with their family members. I take criticism when it comes from a good place. I cannot hide the bad taste that leaves my mouth when someone is making shit up to teach me to come across as smarter. In those situations, the other one is being petty. Those types of people are very good at manipulating the circumstances so you seem unreasonable and untrainable when retelling what has happened. They will say they wouldn't take feedback. What they mean is that you didn't succumb to their belittling. They're pathetic. High-quality workers face this shit a lot due to jealousy. They need to choose their workplace bosses carefully if they ever want to stand a chance. Yeah, and they speak to you in a condescending way. I always say it's not what you say, it's how you say it. If I see some idiot is being condescending to you, I can see how it would be annoying. But if you're truly secure, I don't think it should bother you that much. You'd see the humor in it and let it go. There we go back to the idea of suffering fools gladly. If the idiot is someone who has power over you, like your boss or an arresting officer, I can see that being a little bit different. Yes, exactly. Okay. Somebody else says this is an oversimplification of a complex, deeply nuanced issue. And yeah, it's not really that he's oversimplifying it. He has this entire section of the book that's all about this. And again, it comes back to patterns. That's why he's acknowledged that you can't really just instantly see this right away. Interesting insight. It does take time to become good at this. Highly intuitive individuals, whether spiritual practitioners or artists, are high on this list. One thing to be clear about is the word strong Robert Greene used, and hopefully I'm not seen as bringing him out of context. A strong character shows signs of handling constructive criticism, not being fazed by a high-stress moment, and so on. But there's no small number of strong people skilled at deception. I think it's important to consider all angles here. Many people enjoy playing the victim mindset to be sympathized to get what they want. Some are just straight up weak and can't even hide it. But for those with social skills who appear weak, can be strong in a deceptive way. but are using manipulative techniques for various reasons: social advantage, money, prestige, power, and so on. I don't know the etymology of strong, but I thought speaking of the psychological realm helps a bit here. Strong and weak are expressions of state of power or powerlessness one is in. To be strong doesn't have a universal meaning. Moreover, a weak character may have strengths they're not aware of. Defining these things are more complicated than the way it's simplified, I think, in this video. To be fair, I don't have Robert Greene's knowledge and understanding of certain life matters. I'm not educated at this level, and I see where he's coming from. Just saying that I think the strong and weak dichotomy can be complicated depending on the situation. I think that that's actually a very good way to delineate it, because a lot of people would say somebody has good or bad character, and I think that the way that Robert Greene has phrased it here is actually very, very valid. When somebody has weak character, they'll be prone to making awful choices. And essentially that's what it comes down to. All right. We've gone through a bunch of these comments. Somebody says the key is knowing yourself. It's best to be alone to know yourself. The most important part is knowing how you behave around incompatible people who are going to hurt you. Trust me, there's a difference. Your subconscious is your soul trying to warn you in a form of intuition. Your soul will react to the other soul, and your soul will produce uneasy feelings towards you. Your soul never lies. If you're traumatized, please heal so your soul can send intuition to protect you. Somebody says, I have a weak character. What can I do about it? Yeah, a lot of people, I'm just reading these comments here, seeing what else, other golden nuggets I can deliver here, but I think that we have pretty much covered the majority of the insights as far as the comments go. I agree that a strong person can take criticism, but use discernment when determining the amount of weight you put into taking that in. Parents, bosses, coworkers, and spouses are very critical are the ones with the problem. This is the distinction I made earlier. When they come on the attack, anybody's going to become defensive. Don't let people tell you, oh, stop being so defensive when they viciously attack you. Just tell them, look, anytime you viciously attack me like this, I'm going to defend myself, as would anyone. So if you have something to say that in a calm and constructive manner, then we can actually have a real conversation about it. But if you're just going to come on the attack and blame me, then that's all I have for you, is to tell you that that's not true. If you're always receiving criticism without encouragement, then the problem may not be you. If you receive criticism because you make a decision in your best interest that might not be in the best interest of someone who wants you to take advantage of you, you shouldn't take that in either. Very good point. It's very important to have the maturity to understand where criticism is coming from. Exactly. This is what I would say all the time. My criticism of people in my life, it always comes from a place of caring. It always comes from a place, if I want somebody to be more careful while they're driving, if I want somebody to not drink as much, if I want somebody to do something as simple as, turning off the stove before they leave. All of these things are from me wanting to help somebody make a better decision, make a better choice, and ultimately then learn better skills that are in their own benefit. I don't ever really come at people in an attacking manner because I don't get anything out of that. A lot of people do. A lot of people get something, they get that fuel, they get that supply from putting other people down. And it doesn't really do anything for me. Every once in a while I'll make comments about people that are just funny in a joking manner. And I think that we all kind of do to a certain degree. And again, we all have as human beings, we all are going to at one time or another be judgmental, and we all subconsciously judge people based off their appearance, based off of their manner, based off of, it's just hardwired into us as human beings. We can't avoid it. But what I'm talking about is that toxic pattern where people feel the need to constantly cut people down and chip away at them to devalue those people, to make themselves feel better. And there's a big difference between that. Understand where criticism is coming from and to know that you can be mature in handling it, but you can also decline to accept it if you think it will be harmful to you in some way. Very well said. Very well said. All right, guys, that does it for this video. I hope that this has been valuable to you. I think that there's a lot of good tidbits and nuggets in here that we covered. The people in this comment section left some great comments, and I think that we've actually hit this on a bunch of different angles, so I am glad that I recorded this video. With that being said, much love as always. Drop me with a like. Let me know what your thoughts are about this in the comments below. Hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.